They managed a draw, a 1-1 against Manchester City at the San Siro, where 35,000 fans applauded them for their first ever point in the Champions League competition. It was obviously wonderful to see, but it was also kind of a game of two halves, right?
In the first half, it looks like they're going to be totally overrun. Man City created lots of chances. Gasperini is very adventurous and very brave in his tactics by just keeping the three centre-halves back and letting the wing-backs go on, just playing those two players in midfield with Gomez in front of them and drifting where he wants to go, which meant they were really vulnerable to the ability of Mahrez down one side, Sterling down the other. Jesus was making great runs. Manchester City were dominating midfield, and it looked as though it could be any sort of score after sort of 30 minutes, 40 minutes. But credit to Atalanta, I wouldn't say they changed things, but they just got a better grip on the game. They defended better in midfield areas, they defended better from the front, they locked Man City into certain areas. So I thought they defended much better all around the field in that second half, and as a result they then started to create their own chances and got a little bit of doubt into Man City's minds. So well played, Gasperini.
Well, I mean, Nicky, considering the fact that he doesn't have any Barcelona and former Real Madrid players to call upon, what do you think of this game? Do you think they should have won it, considering they had Kyle Walker?
By the end, yes. It's interesting, I always think with Gasperini, and the quote has been repeated many times now, but Jose Mourinho, when he was in Serie A, said that Gasperini was the toughest coach he faced, and he said it was like a chess match. Every time I made a move, he would counter it. So even though he has this sort of one way of playing in a sense, which is man on man. We've talked about loads in this podcast. That's how he likes to set his team up. You trust the one-on-ones. He is someone who understands the nuance and the flow of a game and how to change things. And perhaps he, you were talking about this before he came on, Mina, made his team, encouraged him to play more directly and use the flanks more in the second half, which they did effectively on the goal. Gomez finding all sorts of space to put that cross in for passage and completely unmarked. Should they have won the game? I think that in the second half, honestly, I can't think of significant chances for Manchester City. The reality is I can't think of many significant chances for Atalanta either, and probably the best chance they had to win the game was if Ilicic doesn't work so hard to get that red card. And I think that it is a foul, but Ilicic hangs his leg there so far out from his body to make sure that Bravo fouls him. And Bravo has overcommitted in the most ridiculous way. And actually, if Ilicic stays on his feet and goes around him, it's an open goal. And I think that possibly was their best chance to win it.
The only thing against Ilicic was he's very much a left-footed player.
Yes,
and when he took it past the goalkeeper, it was onto his right foot, and he's still got a little bit of work. But you're absolutely right. He should be passing that into the net with his right foot. He didn't need to go down.
Well, maybe he thought, why should I get this one? If I get Bravo sent off, they'll go down to 10. They'll have some outfield player, and then I can score two.
Scoring the goal, scoring the goal, getting a player sent off, scoring the goal. Then you can hang on to the lead.
I'm convinced it was in his mind. I'm convinced that when he saw Bravo out there, he knew Edison had gone off half time. I'm convinced that his thought process, and it's an instantaneous thought process. I'm not thinking about he'd planned it for half an hour, but I think in that moment he thinks, if I can draw a foul here, he's off and they're stuffed. And really, at that point, the issue that Atalanta had was not taking enough shots. Now, credit to City, who are as good as anyone in the world at keeping the ball away from you. But and also credit to Guardiola for managing to drag that substitution on for about 7 minutes and
it took the sting out of the game.
Yeah, taking the sting out of it when the officials did not give that back in injury time. There was 7 minutes exactly in injury time. I think there's 7 minutes just for that delay, let alone all the other pauses in the half. But yes, I think the frustration for Atalanta will be the feeling that they did not, put another shot on Kyle Walker's goal after that free kick, which, he did save, but it wasn't exactly confident.
No. It's interesting because this is, something that Gasperini really hates when it's ever put to him that his team aren't necessarily mature at this level or experienced at this level to basically take advantage of all these opportunities that can be granted to you, such as Kyle Walker, take more shots because you do have an outfield player like that. I also think that it's a case of, Pep just it's that, we're going to take 7 minutes in changing this. We're going to slow you down and take out all this ambition. And you just feel like there's so many regrets for Atalanta. I mean, they still have 2 games. They could still effectively go through if they win both of them. They're going to need help. But
it's really not that implausible. This is the thing which is crazy to me, is that the only thing that Atalanta need to do to go through now, win their games and have City not lose either of their games. which it's City. You don't expect City to lose to Dynamo.
Well, I don't
Zagreb
know.
or
I
Shakhtar.
feel like they are defensively. Well, it's
and City,
Shakhtar.
once they're through,
Not
they
draw.
might
Yeah,
put a
they're
second
not
string
gonna-
side out.
So City aren't through yet, so they're going to want to try in the next game. So it'll just be the last game, which I can't remember which order the next two games are in. But in either case, I'm not saying.
Zagreb is the last for Atalanta, so they face
they
Shakhtar next.
You've got to remember, Atalanta haven't won a game yet. They've lost three and only
That's the bigger
got
hurdle.
a draw. You
That's
said
the
they've got
bigger
to win
hurdle.
their two
They've
games.
got to win their two games. I think that the other part of it is, like, yes, they need some help, but it's not what the amount of help you'd think they should need with 1 point after.
Well,
But
to
at
be
the moment,
honest-
Atalanta, although they're a good footballing side, and I like watching them play, they're playing without centre forward at the moment, so they're overloaded midfield.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they've got three centre halves that, on their day, are good players, but they're too vulnerable in 1v1 situations. Toloi playing on the right hand side, Palomino in the middle, and then Gian Piero on the left hand side. That's not a good back three. It's a good back three for a middle of the table Serie A team, but not a top European side.
This is what they are. I mean, they're a very good side. They're very entertaining to watch. They're perhaps naive in the sense
better
that.
than a mid-table team.
No, when I
They've been
said,
better
I said
than
that those
mid-table
three
team.
players
No,
are
usually would belong there.
yeah.
Gasperini has just made them fantastic by every stretch of the imagination. There are regrets. They were obviously very terrible against Zagreb. But I do think that they should have won that match against Shakhtar Donetsk. I think that they
That's the
were,
regret.
and that's the regret that they're going to carry with them. I also think there's a regret against not doing something in the final minutes against City. But either way, this is the way it is, and hopefully they can win their two games.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.